end of 2020. And then, of course, your Black Friday sale on cryptos. Black Friday sale also on your awfully stunning and sexy Market Sniper Trading is Addictive coffee mugs. Links below. Get yourself a t-shirt as well if you like. White, grey, all colors catered for, except transgender pink. That's a special request. Anyway, how are you all doing? Good to have you back. Good to have you back. Good to have you back. Couple of big housekeeping things before we refer to some of the images. First of all, 20th of December event. Yes, better part of most of your Sunday. Watch it. It's going to be grey. It's going to be Northern Hemisphere winter. You're going to be locked down. You can't move around. We're going to bring some of your best guests all together, back to back, one after another. For chat, 45 minutes, an hour at a time, non-stop, streaming on YouTube, freely available, 20th of December, Sunday. Yes, burying 2020. We shall mourn its passing. Such tears we shall shed. Such tears we shall shed. So sad that it does leave us. And we will be looking forward to this brave new world and new normal of 2021 and all the delights that the year of the vaccine will bring. Yes, indeed. And how to build your wealth and how to survive and how to keep the overreaching government. Oh, I've just realized, look at the sleeves on that. It looks all hangy and cloak-like. Oh, in the black velvet. The other thing is, as I referred to screen, there's this gentleman here, Mr. Jinbird369. We are committing immense resources. We were going to catch him. We're going to prosecute him. Scammers must be stamped out. We want this guy. We've had a swarm and flood of information in. Thank you for those of you that have been approached. Anyone who doesn't come forward and was part and parcel of him will be part of the people we will be taking down. We are going to geolocate. We're getting all the bits and the comments and the requests and all the scamming that this guy's done. We're scraping it all together. I want it in. Bring it to us with whatever you've got. Even if you thought it was a good idea at the time, come clean with us and bring what you got, and it's all put aside. We're going to catch him and take him down. And I think we already have more than enough, and we'll be handing it over to the specialists. Help us stamp out scammers that rip off content, people that do fake profiles, all that nonsense. Help us clean this game up. There's very light policing, and it's time we started giving a proper rogering. I will take his picture. I will have him prosecuted. He will be taken into a court. I will tweet it out. This guy is going to get caught. Let me tell you. And I already have quite a lot of information, and I'm looking for more. Okay, so Bitcoin, black price weekend. So what did we say in our last YouTube? It's worth actually popping over to it. In fact, there's a great Bill Hicks. Who remembers the great Bill Hicks? You should watch him. So we did a couple of pointers on our last YouTube. This were the key findings of the last YouTube. Yeah, bring up the comments, please. Bring up the comments. And we said, here's what you need to know. Here's what we think's happening. Bitcoin is coming up to a key level where it's likely to have a pullback. Finally, they come. So it's not too far from an all-time high. And we also told you, I didn't mention it to the same level of detail, you guys don't know HVF method, that there is a major HVF method level being shown. I did share a chart where I just put the level out, not all the details. You can find out how we get these levels, by the way. If you aren't following Crypto Sniper, you should already be. I'm sure you are on Twitter at the Crypto Sniper. Also follow at the Market Sniper. And if you want Reset, you can also follow the Reset Sniper. We put this chart out there. We'll look at it in live as well, and saying the main reaction pullback levels that will occur in HVF method. This has all been given and provided with our first cup gold nugget draw, which ended up being almost a surprise in essence. After the collapse of the COVID, we thought there would be a bit more churning around a bit and maybe a final pullback. That didn't happen. Our first cup gold nugget draw actually had the first purple line, first HVF reaction point at the 11,071. You got to remember our point of entry for Bitcoin. This is the flight path for crypto, and this dictates everything. So we're going to tell you a little of what we got right and something I got wrong as well, which involves a short-time trade with XRP. So we're not trying to aggrandize things. We don't get everything right. Some tell something right, tell something wrong. Stay in balance. Recognize and be frank and honest about all good and all bad. And this is the journey for all traders. But the key is you can still make money even without 100% perfect execution. And one of the most useful things is a super powerful method. Hunt Volatility Funnel, HVF. First reaction level, 11,071. There was your break. Beautiful people. Let's just highlight it to you. Let's go with the orange. We'll draw free hand there. It actually had a couple of interactions at that point. You could have got in any of those three little orange circles. If you can see them up there, boom, up above me. Any of those three on the green line, you would have gone long. The last one came after your first reaction level. So in a sense, we'll go to the red box. We say after you make that purple line, you're going to have some form of reaction. If you drop down into that reaction that occurred after the first HVF level of reaction pullback, you actually will find that there is a little head and shoulder in there. And that little head and shoulder had a perfect neckline that confluenced with our first HVF reaction level. That's right, the 11,070 level. Remembering that you also broke over here at the 10,070. This is a 10,070 move. Those three orange circles are all on the 10,070 line. If people asked you when did the breakout occur, it occurred at 10,070 for us. And for most people that should be the same. This was your cot pinch that we do, a very unique bit of reaction on that low volatility period there. So you reasserted after testing the level first time, you reasserted and broke second time, and then you get the return move. So test, break, return move. 3 times a lady, 10,070. You had 3 chances to be a buyer at 10,070. You made the first HVF level at 11,070, $1,000 higher up, and you came all the way back down. Then we said next key levels are going to occur. And in actual fact, there's 5 here, but we've just given you the top 2 in terms of the HVF prediction level. The second one, that is of significance. And that was at the 19,099. That's on Bitstamp. By the way, it's 19,250 on Binance. So I'm doing this on Bitstamp, greater history chart, but actually a lot of you are trading on Binance, which is a more recent platform, etc. You know the story. There's also the 19,000 key level of significance. Then there was a better part of about a $750 all the way to the all-time high and the 20K. But this is a very key price reaction level. We said in that YouTube, you could either melt up through it and make the all-time high and run the 20K, or react just to this level alone. This is a significant level. It's a very big pattern. And the key thing between these levels is what? Before I continue on the second level, the key thing is in between, you'll see there's green arrows as well. I'll go luminous green. You make great, fast, impulsive progress. And the same will apply here when we get back on our bike. Those are the best periods to be long investment and to have a small amount of leverage if you can manage that carefully and you know what you're doing, to be leverage long, because then you make one monodirectional. Now, you won't say there weren't any pullbacks. You can see a kind of big wick there, for example. But in terms of the overall macro view, you had non-stop. This is a 3-day chart. In the weekly chart, it's 8 weeks in a row. On the 3-day, that's kind of splits. It's almost like half a week. It's even slightly less than half a week. You've had essentially 16, 17, 18, 19 sessions of 3 days. Full 3 days, 24 hours, another 24, another 24. You know, that kind of 3 days, night, day, all of it. That's, what is that, 72? You've had 72-hour session, non-stop green, going on for almost 20 of them in a row. 72-hour sessions, green, 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 20 times, 72 hours. Wow. That's how you can get a really nice move leverage. And then what happens is you come to that second HVF level. And that's what we warned you about. We said, don't chase alts right now. And then we'll come to a little joke story about our 5-minute, 15-minute ripple pattern in a minute. Don't chase investment, particularly was what I was referring to alts, or long-term leverage trades, maybe in your lukewarm pot. So you have your investment pot in blue, you have your lukewarm pot, and then you have your highly leveraged pot. Don't chase them. Don't chase them round about this time here. That was what, 2 days ago, that YouTube? What date are we today? 26, 26, 26, he says. And what date was it done? What date was it done? I think it was Monday. Maybe it was Monday. Bill Hicks again. Fancy him. 23rd. So 3 days ago, we said a melt-up prior is possible. Yes. We also said we have a major HVF level and you could have pullbacks before any all-time highs. That was the secondary option to the fact that you could push through and make the all-time high in the 20K in a blow-off move before that. I think that's more likely now to happen when we run the 26K mark and our special target that is just before that, which I'll give you a small idea on. So here you go. BTC was roughly doing $1,000 from the time 10,070 up to 11,070. Went a little bit higher, head and shoulder, back down. Remember that? That was just before. So the weekend starts. This is your big warning. The weekend starts early, and I spoke about weekends being poor for crypto. That it's during the weekdays that it's running. The weekend starts early because it's Thanksgiving today. Happy Thanksgiving to the Americans. Happy Turkey Day. Shout out if you're from America and what state you're in. We love your comments. We want to read them. So yeah, happy Turkey Day to you. And it starts early. Many people take the day off on Wednesday. They get Thursday automatically. They take Friday and Monday off. And they come back. They leave on Wednesday and they come back on Tuesday the following week. They essentially have almost an entire week off. And they don't get much leave in America. You're made to toil. I think you get 2 weeks leave a year. It's like kind of really not so friendly. Anyway, you live to work, which is why I have a business. It's great to own your own business. Trading is your own business. You can do it too. Mini series below. Grab the links if you want to book a chat to talk about your HVF trading. Anyway, weekend starts early due to Thanksgiving. I showed you that 3 weekends in a row we had pullbacks. So now we have an extended weekend that's starting early and lasts longer possibly because of our American friends having a long weekend, and is all coming at that key HVF level that we were talking about. So hence why you weren't to go investment long on all the alts that you wanted. And everyone was getting very excited about alts at that point. Everyone was getting very excited about the alts at that point. Open up that chart again, shall you? There we go. So let's have a look at it. And everyone wanted to charge in. Ripple had gone up 100%, 130%. So many things were going up 50, 60% on the 7 days mark and going up 10, 15% on a day. And what happened? Bitcoin stopped dancing and all the plates fell. What happened to your best alts? Well, we can take a look at the crypto stats. So crypto stats, weak stats, some of them very, very high. Stellar still got one of the highest for the week at 88%. It's come marching up. It's something to keep your eye on maybe. But for today, 24% down. That's your fire sale. I told you you were getting a Black Friday sale. Remember, you were told the beginning of this week, weekend coming, Black Friday sale. How many are using it to buy? Well, there's the thing. You see, you want to buy a pullback when it's pumping. When the pullback comes, you want to wait a little bit, don't you? That's called psychology. Right there is called psychology. And that's how it always works. You definitely want the next one. You're going to let this one go to be sure. And you'll chase in when it's pumping. Whoops, it's gone too far. You'll wait for a pullback. No, it keeps going up. No, it keeps going up. No, it keeps going up. Oh dear, next big one, I'm in. Yep, that's how it goes. That's called psychology. You want certainty in a game of probability. You've got to realize there is no certainty in a game of probability, and waiting for the event to happen so that you think you have certainty just sees you react mentally and become a momentum chaser. You should trade to the level. So a couple of alts have highlighted themselves to be relatively stronger than some of the others, and we discussed that in our premium area, and we were picking up them now. But this is a long weekend of which today might only be the first day. Is it possible Bitcoin goes down a little more? Down a little more. Now, I'm not saying it'll crash the whole weekend, including the Monday that most people take off, and still going down. I think like even on our normal weekends, the 2 day, there's part of it is the fall and part of it is often a recovery. So at some point, you're going to be near that low, and that's going to be for you to decide, unless you're with us and you're watching how we're reading the charts and which ones are the ones worth buying. And for that, you click below. So let's have a little check. Who's buying? Tell me here, who's buying now? Who's waiting for tomorrow? Who's waiting for Sunday? What's your take on the weekend sale you never believed was coming, and that's now here? How many of you are using it? Looking down at the comments below. Litecoin to 5,000, says Mr. Mart. That sounds nice. Enjoy the BCH second chance, says Big Chungus. It will come back, lol, says Jay Ward. 12K in play, says Renee. Montenegro, I'm not sure I agree 100% with that. Remember something. We are in a macro bull, and so far we have covered some open territory very, very briskly. Open territory has been covered very briskly. We're in a macro bull. And the warning I gave you when we said it's a first cup gold nugget is that don't expect all the pullbacks to be quite the size you might want. You might want it down at 13,000 and say, I'm definitely a buyer there, I'm committing. You may not get it down there. In the same way, you only pulled back here. There was your little head and shoulders, by the way, on the story. And what comes next? When it properly lets go of the 19,000 and the 19,250 level, that's your Binance traders and Bitfinex traders, you will then move again briskly for your next leg up. So when we leave, the next leg up will again be brisk. So make sure you have a seat on the train in some way, but don't buy too expensively. If you wait for this resistance point, you have one problem. You might get a third dip down. Who knows? We can't tell you how long it's going to churn at that level. It's had a hell of a slap in the face, and usually the first slap is the worst and hardest and strongest. The first slap is the first and hardest and longest and strongest. So what typically happens is you get a calming slowly over time, bit of basing. You might get a few secondary spills that don't go quite as far as part of a bottoming out. We don't know how that will fold out over the next few days. But at some point during this period, if you wanted relatively cheap alts, now's the time to get them. How did those alts do relative to Bitcoin? What did we warn you of? The alts will fall harder. In that YouTube clip, in the bullets, the alts will fall harder, he says. For the new old bulls, the beta and pullback could be more hard. That's what we said right there. Alts to fall back harder. That is your notes from watching that video if you attended. So how did it go? Well, let's have a look at a few of them. Ripple was a star, and our own attempt at a short time frame late into the day, which failed actually, which is part of what, unfortunately, I had a little shoot and scoot attempt, and some of us didn't do so great on it, but it was all managed and small loss. Ripple, I know everybody's favorite coin. Everybody's favorite coin. Who doesn't love a Ripple? He says, somewhat sarcastically. Most of you don't, it seems. So there we go. How's Ripple done? Hit 78 up top at the highs, yeah? Traded as low as just above the 45s. That's a discount. If you wanted it, it's a discount. What's that low? 47,170 from 78. Yep, indeed. We looked at this indeed, and we thought, what the hell? Bitcoin seems to be doing just fine, holding itself because it returned back up to our critical level. And I did another chart that kind of explained it. We took a gamble. We took a chance. We knew we were taking a chance. So this is the thing we got totally wrong. We thought, well, it's a small enough time frame on Ripple. Ripple has been kind of strong. Maybe it will get out another one. So let's have a little look at that chart. I'm sure it's on here somewhere. Oh, lots of retweets. We like that. Got to wake our way through it. Other folk highlighting, there we go. So this was the one we were looking at that was getting kind of interesting. This is when it was interesting. And here is our confessing to not winning. Let's do a fatter line than that. I shared it on Twitter and said, hey guys, what about that? Is there still time? It wasn't a long time frame. I'm actually on a 7-minuter. So I thought maybe we sneak one in. That's going to just give a final little push up. This was going to take you up from around the 66 levels where we got in and implied a target for us nigh on the 90s. So that's 0.66, 66 cents to 90 cents. That's not a bad return. And actually, it started to take off and was looking just fine and dandy. And then the moment came. There it is breaking out. Let me just grab the square instead. There it is breaking out. And then as that happened, yours truly wet the bed. And this is a classic case of example. We thought that's great. Bitcoin seems to have had a bit of a reaction to its key level. It seems to have had a bit of a reaction. It came back up. It then tried to get away and got a real exhausted. And that's often a warning when something tries to reassert and then gets killed. It's like an attack that goes on too long, and one more attack and one more, and then it gets exhausted and badly repelled. Next thing you know, the whole army's retreating because they run into serious resistance. And we got a second leg of selling. And that spoiled immediately the possibility of that going our way. Bitcoin going down, and overnight, as you know, it fell through that, and you almost have a case for a double top type structure. That was waiting for your God market just to keep hanging on. He didn't need to go up. He just needed to hold at this level. He just needed to hold, and he didn't. He fizzled away. So we took a gamble and we lost. And such is life in trading. The key point is we were able to get in early at 6.6, and it broke as soon as and 6.6 ended up being our stop. So it didn't have to be a loss. In fact, some people could get out with very little loss at all, or even just flat. But we did have a gamble, and we got that wrong. And why? Because we got tempted to trade. It's my own fault. Tempted to trade, natural human instinct, tempted to trade. Is there another squeeze for the alts just before we go into the whole program of the weekend? And no, there wasn't. And here's what Bitcoin did overnight. It did look like, hold on a minute, maybe it'll just hang 5 and do that. No, die, quite hard and quite sketchy hard. So that is how it's rolled out. But this is your sale. How far do you want it to go down, you ask? How far do you want it to go down? Well, how many days? I think there will probably be recovery on Monday as some of the people come back at the latest. Possibly some recovery on Sunday. And it's a question of what happens between Friday and Saturday. How much of it is churn? How much of it is downside? How much of it is already the beginning of some upside? So you have to decide for yourself. Now we have Fibbo levels. We have a number of key levels of significance that's generated by Hunt volatility funnel patterns that we can use. If we're looking at a particular coin and we can do micro analysis, what's your method for determining what to buy and where to buy? Let's see what you guys say to that. Algo is my favorite, says Captain Crypto. It's possible, but I'm happy with 14K Bitcoin to get in. If you were asking me, I'm thinking you're not going to see it, but I could absolutely be wrong. It's not exceptionally far away. You're at 17,000 now. It's not impossible. And if I go back up to the higher time frames, theoretically, you could come all the way back to the 10,070 level and still be a great breakout. I don't think that would happen. That would be a pretty dangerous part, but even a 50% retrace. So let's do a bit of volume and Fibonacci analysis on Bitcoin, because it's clear he's the God market. Maybe now, if you're followers of this channel, you understand what I mean now when I talk about God markets, who is the big boss. And if you check out the flight path that we expect, you will hopefully make sure that you're in for this next green arrow, which might be one of the most rewarding. If it's 16,000, if it's 15,000 that low, you'll ride it up to almost 26K. That's a 10,000 move. If it's 17, where it is roughly now, it's still not a bad move. It's 9,000. But if you get in with leverage and we go a little lower, you could get hurt. Hence the difference between how you should manage your investment pot and your leverage pots. So what am I going to do? Let's first of all draw a few fibs and let's do some volume by price. In fact, I'm going to do volume by price since this break over here. You can see there was a lot of volume accumulated because of the reversal and down. Actually, this up move has not been on particularly high volume. This is on Bitstamp. I'm going to actually stand down from Bitstamp now. I'm going to go back to the rather more busy chart of, I kind of need a different one. Let's go to one, it's not as bad, Finex. I don't think I've got as much drawn on here. I'm going to go and do volume by price here. That's for that range. Again, most of it near the bottom. There's a lot of hodling going on, this tells me. In other words, people that want Bitcoin have to chase it up. If I take it since the return move, the last place of some volume, the high point of volume was around 15.5. It was a little bit busy there. A bit of a vacuum area. We call this voids and vacuums. We teach it when we talk about volume by price and how you can do it over a fixed period and zone that I've done here, and also for the full chart. So in other words, you can do for a volume by price for many parts. Volume is useful for highlighting key levels of significance as well for you guys. Let's see. Let's just do volume by price in all. Let's see financials. No, not financials, indicators. Yeah, we don't want visible range. Let's do it again. Since there. Yeah, it doesn't tell us too much. Most of the action is down here. It does say that we're going up on pretty light volume, that a lot of people are holding. There was a lot more activity for a lot longer, a sustained a period here. If we just catch the upside move, 15.5 is a zone where there was, and this is very shallow area here where we dipped into, and it started to fatten up. That's where we've got a bit of support. Is scope for it to go down further? Is scope for it to go up further? I'm not sure I can deduce anything in truth. So that's a hammer after two inverted hammers. So this is holding a level so far. You could get second stage selling, but not necessarily. You could also have bottoming. Yeah, so it's a little bit indecisive. Let's grab the lines here. That was a degree of a rising wedge there. This has a small risk of possible continuation pattern. That would be downside, most instances. But if it forms a channel, it could also be downside. If this trades higher though, and you get a double bottom, kind of double bottom structure, so that would look more like this. Didn't quite come deep enough for that. That's a little bit of a worry that. So there's a couple of options left for a bit more downside continuation being possible. But at the same time, that's a fairly lively candle right there. It's one of the strongest you've had since way back then. So there is some bottom buying going in. So it remains to be seen. Could it be the blow? I think this is a zone that you should start thinking about buying. Is this the very point, and can it not go any lower? I can't say that. It could initially, but if you're in for the long term, this level and moderately below if it spills a little lower, or if you see it starts to get properly into reversal patterns and starting to move up very shortly thereafter, don't leave it too long. These could turn out to be very, very good entries. This is for Bitcoin. On the others, depending on which you like, I've looked at a couple of the big ones. I tell you just a guidance on the ones we would look at. Lumen's come up a lot that I've mentioned. Then you have the likes of, I'm a little bit cool on the Bitcoin fork coins. That's Bitcoin Cash and BSV. At the moment, technically, they're a little bit Me Too-ish, and they're not setting up any particularly interesting structure. They're kind of responding with the herd. So the ones that are a little bit interesting are Lumen over there, Cardano a wee bit, and a little bit of Link to a degree. Still up for the week, these two. That's why I like them. A little bit less so Link. Those two are still up for the week. Ripple has to be considered. I know we all love to hate it. I'm trying not to get involved in beliefs. If these guys declare it to be IMF coin, or the IMF or central banks all choose to elect to use what Ripple are doing to proliferate tokens, and they get a big upside out of that, it's going to happen. It's going to happen, and they go up. Do you want to make money? Make money. Hold your nose. Make money. I don't care. Make some money. Build your wealth. That is still holding on to a very substantial move that came out of nowhere. But do I trust Ripple? No, because it's done huge spikes before, only for major distributions to take place and for them to fizzle in the end large way back. During bear season, this is going to be a long run extended bull, and they did exceptionally well in a bull in 17 as well. They did do it, we have to say it, but so did Ethereum. I prefer Ethereum generally from a fundamental point of view, and technically not too bad. Less volatile, and has held on to 6.5% of the week, while we have a lot of negatives for the week. Chain, Litecoin, Polka, Binance Coin, all down for the week. Screw you. That means you went less up, then you've gone down on the down leg for now. Don't think that's a positive sign. Where's the relative strength? Where's the relative strength? Here. So I would still say, as I said to my premium guys, and you can have this for nothing too, bulk Bitcoin, round about 35-40%, 25-30% of Ethereum, and you've got your core of your portfolio, and then on the remaining 25, knock yourself out with a little bit of ADA and Stellar and XRP. And, XRP, slightly bigger, slightly more liquid, maybe 1/3 of that remaining 25%, maybe 10 goes there, and then you have 15 left, 7.5 ADA and 7.5 Stellar right now. And that's not loving Ripple. It's just maybe you're going to go up. Maybe you're going to refine your mojo. It's just done a lot, so I'd expect it to fizzle, be staler for longer. So I maybe wouldn't over allocate. Ethereum came out of its downside underperformance to Bitcoin. Do you remember that head and shoulders that we did on the ETH and BTC chart on the previous video? Well, if you watch that, you will. If you didn't, go back and watch it. But overall, ETH is no longer a relative bias bear against Bitcoin. It turns. But we said to you, don't chase in and buy it now. You're going to get a pullback. Do you remember that? And we were here when we said it. Where's the 23rd? Okay, maybe we were there when we said it. I did say it could go a tad higher first before it gets cheaper. It's come back down there, and it's currently there. You see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? It's turned, but it's had a very strong, and we pointed to this bull flag stroke pennant continuation that kind of ended around there. I think we were there. It was end of the 23rd, beginning the 24th, because we are on a European time. We're kind of there. And we said it could step over, key level of resistance here, which will confirm that it's going back to the high side, but first a significant pullback. And if Bitcoin runs its 2 and has a significant pullback, you will get your chance to buy ETH. Right now, for me, is an ETH accumulation point. For those of you that are 75, 85% Bitcoin and a smattering of ETH and the other alts, because you were originally Bitcoin dominant. The dominance area, very similar, I expect, to the ETH chart, was coming down, down, down. All these alts were pumping, pumping. And we said, it will slow down. You will get a chance to go back into them higher up. And you'll get more Ethereum for your Bitcoin. And I think that's been proven to be the case. But I think ETH-BTC highlights it best. So those are the key things. Which altcoins are you going to go purchase, and what are your reasons why? Now that the great Black Friday sale is here, what saith ye? Comments below. Comments below. What do you think of my satin and velvet morning hoodie for the year of 2020? The only good thing about Coinbase is the cash out. It is nearly instant. It took me under 5 minutes from the Coinbase to my bank account. That's good news to hear. I'm sure they will have sent an email equally quickly to your local receiver and revenue office to tell them exactly how much you made, or if you did happen to lose. Thoughts on BTCD? Melissa Bush, Theta, she says. I'm not sure that's still a thing. Is Theta still a thing? XRP versus ETH chart, please. YFI for YFI. A lot of people that are fans of YFI. Lots of people want to see F versus. There were lots of nice upside structures for us on YFI. We didn't take them all. We went and drew them retrospectively. A lot of them. A lot of small. Continue all making targets. 1, 2, tiny ones, 3. And the pullback is kind of. It's not a tragedy. He will run again. A little bit man peas off the roof there. So it got kind of quick there, but we overshot. And where do you bounce? At our key levels of support down here. Guess what? Supported by tons of volume by price. Here, your highest for this area under review. All falls in line. Our pattern strategy absolutely confirms and dovetails with all forms of volume analysis and volume by price. You should learn how to do it, really. It's an eye-opener as to where the key levels are. And what happens? Price comes down there and then bounces. That's what happens. So that was YFI. Ripple versus ETH. It's going to be a difficult and a nonsensical chart because Ripple spiked super. So ETH will broadly do better, and then there'll be this ridiculous pump, and then it's kind of probably dumped harder as well. So, I mean, we can try it. Because it's an interesting thought. Fair play, you know. It's all about relative valuation. On the short time frame, you want to have been in Ripple because of the pump. But look at that pump versus generally. You'll have a couple of major moves to the upside, and then you bleed out most of the time. Bleed out most of the time. That's monthly. That's maybe a bit too broad. Whoops, not 2 days, 2 weeks. Let's have 2 weeks. So it's a bit of a schizophrenic chart. Most of the time you're bleeding downside for holding Ripple against ETH. And then every now and then you have an absolute booster, and then you give it all back slowly again. I prefer to be in the part. I can't bear to have death by 1,000 cuts like this all the time. Just waiting for that one spike, and then death by 1,000 cuts again. Could it outrun Ripple? Could it take Could it take ETH's place? Possibly if the IMF thing happens. but we'll see it. This is a spike. This is a swallow. Doesn't make the full of summer. Ripple does not replace Ethereum for me in terms of what it does. It's going to take a central banker intervention to change that in my worldview. So that was a couple of the questions coming in. Thoughts staking ETH as an investment case? I think staking's a big game. The time value of money and getting a yield is a big game. That's what's driving Wi-Fi and DeFi and all of that, staking. Yusuf, I had 15 of the top 26 coins. Good luck. Yep, play safe. Rather have Bitcoin in the beginning. It gets volatile. You want to be an ocean going to the moon. BTC scarcity also required to factor in. The halving is completed. Price has to rise. I think BTC should be your largest holding in your investment pot. Then I will trade individual top alts and Bitcoin itself. But BTC should probably be that single biggest holding, with Ethereum being your next biggest. That does mean I'll tend towards a crypto index because those are the two largest market caps, but I prefer being able to choose the speculative coins that I get in. And I don't need to chase the ones that are number 40 and 50. Let them show that they've got enough money, enough backing, and they keep coming to get themselves into that top 15, top 20 range. Link BTC chart looks good. Link. Grab a chat, guys. Costs nothing. Talk to another trader just like you. How you too could make some mistakes like we just did on Ripple, and at the same time get a few right as well. We were kind of trying to snatch a penny in front of the steamroller. We knew the hammer was going to fall. We thought we had enough time, and that was chasing the game a bit. But generally, you don't have to take any trades that don't make sense. Link USDT and then Link USD. It's had quite a reasonable pullback, but not. There's been worse. So I'm pretty sure it'll recover from that. It would be great if it sets up a nice macro continuation pattern, something like this. I would love for that. That would be something I'd really enjoy, because then we get a really tight squeeze. Squeezy, squeezy, Japanesey. That's the only country that you can even say that about. And you could get really tight risks so that we could take leverage trades and hot pot trades. And that would be very, very beneficial. Very, very beneficial. Be nice. Not sure it'll turn out that way. We'll see how it goes with Bitcoin, because it'll have an effect. You wanted Link BTC, if I remember. And it is a different chart, of course. Let's wait for it to load, and you can see it's underperforming, but had major moves up. And what tends to happen when you hold alts is you sit through the major moves up and you get flushed out at the bottoms. You love it and you're a winner and you're the smartest guy in the room, therefore you keep with it, and then you don't want to change your mind even when it sets up a selling off downside continuation pattern. And even this is not that spectacular over there right now. So, yep, it's overperformed at this point. If you were getting long here, that's your squeezy that you wanted. You could have ridden that, and you should have taken off on our overperformance criteria, which you can learn about, again, in a course and program, and you wouldn't have had to sit through the washback. With alts, you always have to be looking to get out. With a possible exception of your investment pot in Bitcoin and Ethereum, most alts, you should be prepared to take a profit. And I know some will make you money on a hodl, on this like penny to riches fantasy that you have. But the truth of the matter is you have to sit through so much chronic sell-offs on such a high volatility and watching so many other things zip by when your coin is doing nothing to actually not miss that event, that it's actually most of you won't do it. So the safest thing for most of you to do is to hold Bitcoin. Bitcoin has supposedly the halvening, the scarcity, the big moon, the institutional money to hold a heavy chunk of Ethereum, a lot of the developments going in on there, and then speculate, as I say, 3 other tokens for 25% of your remaining portfolio. That's kind of the golden rule. The game never changes, guys, says Renee. Mike de Hollander, finally got rid of my 300 Ripple. Stock to flow chart on TradingView. I don't know how to do that, actually. Seeking the truth. Maybe you'll teach me. Renee still says 12K in play. Sammy Poper. So buy BTC around 16, sell at 26. Yes. So what to do? Buy back at 22 and hodl. Yeah. And then it's going to get more volatile after the 26, but I think it's going to go a lot higher. And when it's going a lot higher, a lot of these alts will go up even quicker and you'll be tempted out. Keep a certain percentage. Lock that percentage in on BTC. It will add some, dare I say, stability. To talk about Bitcoin and stability is a bit of a misnomer. But compared to the alts, I would say yes. With alts, if you're leverage trading, it should all be on the shoot and scoot basis that we call it as a sniper. Like that Ripple trade. We were going to sell at 90 and we're back out. And it's all in Bitcoin and Ethereum again as your investment gains. It never happened. So it's actually a taken loss. But generally, shoot and scoot. I will trade on a bit of leverage, a really good structured pattern on any of the top 15 or 20. But that doesn't mean I'm going to investment hold them through all their volatility. And it doesn't mean I'll put them in my lukewarm pot as a long-term trade with leverage. There should never be long-term leverage trading unless you have a super macro long-term setup like you do on Bitcoin. That's why the only coin in my lukewarm pot that I have leveraged long is Bitcoin. Not even Ethereum, not anything else. And it's a small size and it stays on. And it's gone down quite a bit today as a result of Bitcoin selling off, but I'm not looking to trade in and out of it. It's almost like investment with a little bit of turbo attached. A little bit of turbocharged investment. It's not real leverage trading. I'm not jumping in and out. On the lukewarm pot, occasionally we'll do a setup, a shorter time frame setup. If the sky is clear for Bitcoin, that was our big mistake. Wasn't entirely clear. We knew Bitcoin was at a key level, but it could also have squeezed up and run for the all-time highs. And we don't know whether it was done with that first pullback or whether it would have the second leg down. We underestimated that a little bit. But you can trade within the trend on a shoot and scoot basis if you know what you're doing and you have a method. And you will still lose like we did. But what else are the questions? Do you think there will be a scenario where the stock market has 30% to 40% pullback in 2021? Michael John Scott. And what will cause BTC to crash but then recover a lot quicker than stocks? So I think BTC during this macro bull, till it runs the 26K, any dip will recover fairly quickly because we are in a macro upside setup. So between now and our key level of significance just sub 26K, which will probably see both of them run. So if you look at that same chart again, yeah. If we go back to Bitcoin and look at that same old chart, we expect, once it's done with the 19s and the 19,250 level, we expect it gets running hard. You want to catch that. It's going to be 9, 10K running hard. Then at around the upper mid 25s, you want to close out. I still think the 26 will probably fall with it. It could technically just run 25, 650 and then turn and go down and not do the other 350. As a percentage, it's kind of small. It's usually a little bit of a blow off that could happen. In fact, it could blow off well through both of them and run for another 1,500 on the other side. And if you've got out, you'll think, oh, damn, it's carrying on. And then it'll dump 4.5K. and then you're back down at 21 or 22. And then you put that which you took off back in, and you now trade the overperformance, and you've got a little bit of the same territory captured twice. And you feel less emotional about the pullback because you've locked a whole bunch in and you're getting back in. In some senses, I kind of wish I'd done that here. You know, if I'd sold everything at 19,250, but it means you have to get very engaged in your investment pot. You have to get, and if you have lots of accounts and you're looking after a lot of accounts, you don't know how big that pullback's going to be. If someone told you in advance you'll actually trade 16.3, well, sure, you get out at 19.3 and get back in at 16.3, but you don't know that. It might have gone back to 16.3, it might have gone very quickly to just 17.5 and snapped back and then been pumping for 26, and you didn't get in properly, and now you're left chasing back in. So yeah, the best thing is not to be too clever. Have your investment pot sit on it. It's like your eggs. You will ride the ups and the downs, but when it's back up at the new highs, you'll be glad you never took any off at the downs. On your lukewarm pot with a bit of leverage, close at the 25,650s and look to buy back in lower down. This I've kind of made it go down to around the 21s. That's a guess. We don't know. But that'll probably be a bigger sell-off of significance than the second interim. It usually is that way. So the proportionality expands. So these are the HVF levels that you learn. And you can see how compliant they've been. That's the power of the method. There are no things, not Fibonacci, which is, you know, the second, probably the most applauded thing, the golden mean, the golden mean. None of those things give you these levels of, to the same degree. They sometimes confluence, which is nice because then there's agreement. But we'll see. We'll come back again and we'll talk once we've run 25,650, and we'll see how the price behaves. Remember, you can have a final push through. I felt that could happen here. We could just push through with the all-time high so close and just run the all-time high. That was actually my primary bias, actually. Didn't happen like that. Primary bias. We were going to get a pullback, but I thought maybe it'll just sneak a little further. Run the all-time high in the 20K. Two major levels. All-time high, 20K, and then pull back. It didn't. It's done enough. It ran the 19,250. It didn't have another $500, $700 in it. Boom, it was done. But it hadn't looked back from when it broke till now. So it's run a marathon. Let's not beat it up because it stops and sinks to its knees for a while and grabs a few breaths. And while it gets itself ready, I'm sure we'll hopefully have another upside move. Asito Rusko, nice to see you, Asito. LTC USD. Litecoin, yeah, I don't want to run the rack on all of them. I'm a bit lukewarm on the Bitcoin forks. I keep saying there's no new development going into Litecoin. It's kind of a cheap Bitcoin with no development. Had a reasonable pullback. How's it done for the week? It's down 10% on the week. Did start moving a little bit before the others, but there's others that have held on to still some upside as a result of the week. But maybe they started running later than Litecoin. So, I mean, you know, the last 7 days isn't the perfect analysis. So Litecoin started moving a bit sooner, so it's not that bad. It just doesn't light me up. Mainly because its bigger time frame is a little bit messy. Particularly this bit. It's just a bit of a confusing read. You know, that was the Echo Bull. Then we had that. New low. And then we went kind of very convex and flat here. And we had a little bump, little down. This isn't a great chart for reading. Let's see if there's anything we can see. That was a bit of a key point. Where's that? We've run a marginally higher high here. And now we're pulling back. They'll all go up. It's just choosing the best one. It's choosing the one that's most likely. And technically, I like to feel in flow with this chart. I don't feel particularly in flow with this one. I don't feel insights dropping into my hands on Litecoin. I really don't. So I stay away. Yeah, I don't feel it. Just don't feel it. And if you look at Litecoin BTC, you know, it's just a bleed out. It's just one big ass bleed out. No. Doesn't interest me. Really doesn't particularly interest me. Rather have my Bitcoin. Neo, you're too far down, Floris. We're turning our nose up at the once previous go-go coins that are now only outside the top 20. Where's Neo nowadays as a number? I think it's outside the top 20 now. 23. 23. Filecoin has taken it. Yeah. I don't think you need it. I really don't think you need it. Wait till it shows some relative strength and starts climbing up the ladder again and gets its way back in. ADA, yes, I said I liked ADA. So let's show you ADA. ADA. USDT, much more of a turn already earlier on. You can see much more of a target as well. So look at this. Compare that to Litecoin. I prefer ADA substantially. I would say it's one of my... So after Bitcoin and Ethereum, it's probably one of my ones I like. If it's not my next best, it's there or thereabouts in most instances. We have asked Charlie, I think it's Hodgkinson, to come and appear with us, just technically, much more. So if you're a technical analyst, it's properly bottomed. It's had a rounded, it started to make higher highs and higher lows. This little fractal structure here gave you an overperformance that smashed your W bottom. So that's a W bottom from there. Change color. Very key neckline point, the blue line, 0.1. That's 10 cents. There's your W bottom. There's your neckline. Broke, return move, came back in, wound up, just on your blue line. Broke, spiked, made the target 19. So went from 10 to 20 basically. And now fell back, supported on what we call a key level of significance that was created by the funnel and is being bought back up on its wick. This is actually higher. It broke, went someplace, and it's only given back 50% thereof, or maybe 60. It's held on to some of its gain. It's showing a degree of technical relative strength. It's making higher highs and higher lows. I way prefer this to Litecoin. Fact. Technically, the money shows. Show me the flow of the money, and it shows. And this is clearly put in a very technical, obvious bottom. July 18, it entered into the 10-cent range. It returned in July 19. And by July 20, perfect symmetry, it cleared it for the first time. It didn't have breakout momentum. It returned in it. It created a wind up. Bitcoin started surging. It surged with it, and it held on to some of its gain during a period of volatility. That's an accumulate one for your remaining 25% and see how it goes. A 6-month each side, year-long proper bottom that is now accompanied by higher highs and higher lows, where these were your last highs and these were your last lows. So, makes sense to me. Does it make sense to you? Ada. What saith ye on Ada? How long will DeFi perform? Well, there's different DeFi coins. There's lots of them doing different levels of rates. Let's see which ones force their way into the top 10. They often filter themselves out. Where does the money end up? Let it show itself. You don't have to decide. The market will decide for you, and wait until it does. See which ones come through. Bull investor, why is it crashing so hard? I'm not sure which one he's referring to. Mr. Fatface, XEM. That's probably Anthony Welfare. Now, community member, and actually now working with them. We may have their chief tech officer on our event. So let's have a look at XEM. Also, probably better than Litecoin, just in terms of bottoming. A little bit similar, not quite the same amount of upside as ADA. It kept making marginally lower lows a little bit longer. But it does look like it's turned its corner and it's had a few ups. That's a kind of a falling wedge structure with a little bump. You went higher. You broke from roundabout here. You broke roundabout there. You had a little journey, and then you still held on to some of it. It hasn't all been given back yet in the Bitcoin pullback. I'd say I prefer ADA personally, but not bad. It is showing clear signs of recovery and having bottomed in an environment where, as I say, Litecoin hasn't. But if I put this against Bitcoin, it's going to wilt a little bit in comparison. No. Still better than Litecoin. Still better than Litecoin. Getting off the ground. It is getting off the ground. Good. I think that's about it. 553 watching, 61 minutes in. Can we get a share? Can we get a like? Adverts free, telling you our best takes. It's your sale. It's your Black Friday sale. It's your long weekend sale. Bitcoin could be soft for a number more days than usual. What are you going to do? Are you going to do anything? Don't get over leveraged. Maybe your investment pot. If you wanted some of those alts, some of them have turned against Bitcoin, Ethereum being one in my view. Other ones of interest I've mentioned. Possibility of Lumen, I didn't look at the chart. ADA, and we also links okay-ish. I think probably ADA is the other one. And, dare I say it, Devil's Coin Ripple might be, or it might just be a spike. Do we trust the Lucifer? I don't know if you should. We'll see. I think time will tell with XRP, but it is a big cap and it's liquid. So those things we can't take away from it. But it's not been a general performance fan for me. During the bear markets, it's shown great sense of weakness and has given up market cap. However, who knows? Who knows? You've got to keep your mind open. Don't marry a coin. Don't hate a coin so much you prevent yourself from making the money that might come to it. I don't know. So we've got to keep an open mind. Remember, how you trade and how you invest is not a moral position. It doesn't matter what you like, hate, or dislike. It's whether you make money in trading. The game is to make money. The game is to make money and take some of that money and keep some of that money. And we talk in our community about how you keep your money. From the overreaching likes of Munchkin. Mnuchin always makes my dyslexia call him Munchkin. Munchkin is coming for your wallets. He wants to know. He wants to regulate your wallets. What's this business? Having freedom. Seeking freedom and your own money. Never shall we let it happen. Munchkin cometh in the year of 2021 along with his vaccine syringe. Lots of lovely things coming for us in 2021. Plenty to be cheerful about. Put on your black clothes and mourn the death of 2020 with us on the 20th of December. Grab the links below. Hit yourself up for the mini-series. Shares are greatly appreciated from us. Put it out on your FaceAche or your Twitter profile. Give it a retweet. It'll bring new people in. It helps us. It makes us more regularly do. If we are growing, if we're stagnating, we divert our resources elsewhere. So many other channels like Simon Dixon. I'm proud to hear up to over 55,000. Very, very good. He had left his YouTube channel for a while. We'd like to get up to those kind of numbers too. Help us. Tell us if you want us to be better, where we should be better. We read your comments always. Help us clear out the spam bot comments as well and kill the spammers. Get back to us with anyone doing something that they shouldn't be doing, any copied profiles. Help us advance our following. We appreciate that if you do. And with that, I will say enjoy your weekends. With much love from all of us. Have a bit of turkey and make use of the sales. While stocks last, you do understand. Bye for now.